All right. Let's see. Let me pull my notes. Because things. Got like hella different notes all jibble jabbled. Lily Chrysanthemum. Not much you can remember while growing up. Get out of the early stages of knowing your mother, loving her as she loved you. One day, she disappeared. And one day, unknown figures take you to a place unknown. We're assuring you that your mother will be around. You believed him, just, being a small child. You didn't know any better. Not much to strangers that you would be fairly confident about. You didn't even know what the word naive meant back then either. You didn't know. As you asked them who they are, they say nothing and take you by the hand. The travel is a little bit in silence, but they reassure you that your mother's away. They didn't even show you a picture. Being the very young adolescent child, gave you no cause to doubt their words. And then you're taken to an odd building. It's large, vast, with pristine colorings of white crystals that seem to echo and change, moves from the air. As you're taken into this facility, you notice many other children as well. The figures that left you at the facility are long gone. Instead, those facilitating it tell you that your mother is just ill, and it'll be a while until she can get up to see you. And so, we're asked to be a good girl and listen, and get along with the others. As whom the others may be, you'll enter a large room full of many other children, just as old as you. All having their own bunk beds and places to sleep, even toys that are, of course, adults keeping eyes, but also you look up and you see odd sorts of weird small little boxes and odd circular objects, which later you came to know as cameras. For a while, you got to know the names of your playmates and some friends, but it didn't last too long, as each of you were one by one separated. The one character did catch your eye. Everyone was given a bit of a stamp, like a tattoo of their names, but in initials. For you, yours was simply LC. And then you became friends with a very rowdy and outspoken character by the name of GS. And of course, for him, he couldn't really say his name all too well because he would just talk too fast and blabber. He was pretty much a troublemaker. One day, you were given types of food to eat. And after that, you feel drowsy. When you had fallen asleep, you wake up in your bed. And you notice part of your arm It's irritated. You see these little, small little holes. They're not metal, it's just, you know, someone like poked you really hard. A bit irritated, almost like a mosquito bite. You thought nothing of it. And then you're taken to an office. A very old man is sitting there. You take a seat. There's a few snacks for you. And he peers over his desk. My dear. I did ask you a few questions. As he reaches over under his desk, he pulls out a book. He starts flipping through it. He pulls something from it, and he shows it to you. It looks like a plant, but at the same time, they're different shades. You see something that look almost like curved teeth. But then you also see like a hand trying to grasp the center of like the vine or the root. It's a bit odd. As he looks over at you, what does this remind you of? It does look like a plant. It does look like some sort of animal. It also looks like something was trapped and trying to escape. How do you answer? As you ask, wanting to see your mother. Do you know what a Venus flytrap is? Something like that, yeah. As you ask that question, he does not respond, but instead points towards the picture. At this time, you're going a bit older. Wiser, not yet. What do you wish to do? Lily. As you spawn of being a Venus flytrap, the doctor looks at you, squints his eyes, and puts the image away. Then he pulls out another one. It's like spilling a glass of water on the ground. A big blotch. In the midst of it, you see what seems to be the shape and color and the indentions of an eye. On the lower part of it, it looks like a flower in bloom. Right underneath this image, almost contrasting each other very perfectly. Shit. Sorry about that. Looks like she wants more. Hopefully everyone's doing well, and also we are doing Shamu's character introduction in the sci-fi game Abyssal Mishaps to the Stars, where I took my fantasy game and fast forward about 1,000,000 years, and this is what you get. My character name is Lily Chrysanthemum. What berries are? Maybe. But being very young, you have a loose idea what it is. A very loose idea. Something known as doll's eyes? Very, very close to it. But that'd be something that you would recognize kind of like as doll eyes. Oh, that's random. The render. Oh fuck. Yeah. Almost dropped something. Jesus. I think a bunch of our EU friends have probably went to bed. Backhand's just drunk off his stupid. Backhand. Once you say that, the doctor, his eyes, one eyebrow is raised, but the eyes are like really focused on you. He goes back, puts a picture in his book. He pops an intercom and he goes, "Okay, she's ready. Put her in." And so one figure comes to take you, but another one is backup just in case you get a little rowdy. They take you away as this figure himself leans back and looks right at you. The door shuts. You're taken to an operating table, lying face down. The coldness of the room, the stale air that you breathe. You don't feel nothing yet, but you see the feet on the ground move, the sounds of the facilitators speaking, and the doctor himself over an intercom. You can hear these screeching and scrapping of metal, but nothing done to you yet. You were just lying flat down on a table and restrained. One supposed doctor kneels down and looks at you. This is going to hurt a little bit. Do your best to try to stay awake. It's going to be hard. You can see in his eyes he has a sad look about him and regret. You don't really understand it too well, but you know something bad is happening and you feel like you just need to run, escape. Your instincts are just telling you get the hell out. As you ask him that question, he shakes his head and he stands up. You hear the words of, "It's time to begin." All right. You feel several different touches of cold. One on your spine, the back of your neck, one shoulder blade to the next shoulder blade, to the grooves of your spine and to the side of it. And you feel it like a grip of a hand. Sharp, searing pain hits you immediately and slides all the way down, just like scratching on a chalkboard, put into your flesh. As it slides further down, the pain is very excruciating. You're gonna help but scream. And then you hear the movement and sound of liquid. And then you hear metal being dragged. You start hearing things being clamped together, put together. And on the back of your neck, you feel a very cool touch. And then you feel this piercing, painful line coming from your neck all to the exit wounds that have happened. You hear the sound of machinery clicking and moving. You hear something like a buzzsaw. Zzz, and a drill as well. The pain is far too much for your mind to bear, and you start to fade. But immediately as you start to fade, dunk, dunk, you feel liquids hitting your body. They force you to stay awake. You cannot black out. You hear the words, "Her body's going over shock. We gotta keep her up." "Well, keep on going, you fool." They continue to work. You hear the clanging of metal, the intrusion, the scarring of your skin and your flesh, in and out. And this continues for several hours of you being in this state of pain and not being able to go unconscious. You wake later. As soon as they finish, they shut you down. You wake being just held straight up. As soon as you wake, the old doctor that you saw long ago, so far so good. Stay alive. And maybe you'll get to see your mother. He gets up and he goes to leave. He snaps his fingers and a bright light shows, and across from you is a mirror. and it shows a image of you, but behind you, these long elongated scars protruding from your back, and you're seeing there's one large incision and a tattoo of LC at the back of your neck. You wish to say anything? No? I want to go home. That'll be a long time. He shuts the door and leaves you in darkness. Days and weeks as you heal and they perform more shots, surgeries, taming your body, controlling it, forcing against your will, running different diagnostic tests of physical and mental reactions and prowess. And then you got to meet up with an old friend that you remembered. GS. Subject GS. The prospect of a name has long since been shattered or forgotten. You remember him being very outspoken and outrageous, and he still retains a lot of that. A lot of his mind is just shaken up, and he tries to maintain as much of his sanity as possible, shaking, speaking in jitters, but still able to move very quickly and strongly. And you both are sent to a room. He looks towards you and he goes, I remember you. You remember me? And you remember, like, when it was time for like snacks or lunch, he would give you a bunch of grapes. He would give you grapes to eat on. As you solemnly nod from one little container, they did set aside some food and he offered you some grapes. Hey, here you go. And you like these, right? Yep, he hands you grapes. Yeah, they're grapes. Eating these kind of grapes before, but several different kinds. But these would be Lucia grapes. They're really tasty. Remember your mom giving you some too. Yeah, just character. Alright, you gotta eat them. They taste fairly well and they bring you fond memories of when you used to live with your mother. And of course, the only great warm greeting you ever got was from GS and him sneaking snacks and fruits and whatnot into the barracks and the bunk bed rooms and the test rooms with you. You can see that he's been through as much as you as well. The same tattoo, the puncture marks, but you can also tell, like, the only difference is that on his chest you can see an outline is that there is something like burn marks. It's really ashen and it seems almost rotted too, but it pulses. It pulses. Do you wish to say anything to him? Or do you want to wait until you are called? It's up to you if you want to remain in silence. Tony Stark. How's Meko King still here? Let's see. Good old Meko King. Hopefully everyone's enjoying this introduction thus far. Oh, say Yes, the vibrant containers, and also again, thank you guys for those crazy Pateron War Fun people, but also Meko, yes, I'll have a character introduction that's due if you ever want yours. So, do let me know. You're fine, Chapman. You ready to continue? Where he was like Tony Stark. Okay. You point to it. He looks and he goes, "Well, did a lot of things. I still want to go home. They said if I did it, it would tell me go home soon." That is what he does reiterate to you as best as he can to maintain the conversation. It is really tough for him to put out the words, but he tries his best. You know, you guys have some sort of set of emotions to be able to interact. Okay. As you say that, a couple of the other scientists come around in, along with the guards, and they prompt you to stand up and go to the next experimentation room. Yes, he stands up and he goes, oh, we should probably get going. And he follows along meekly. Do you follow after him? Alright, so you follow after him. You start getting outfitted with all sorts of different gears, different armor sets, and they feel nice to your skin. They cover up the scars. It's started your affinity to liking armor or clothing that could cover pretty much the wounds, scars, and the great atrocity upon your body, and also the reminder of what happened to you, and to keep it hidden. You're also given a helmet, and then you get set into a room. As you two wait, do you wish to say anything to him? The rest of the figures I already left out. They just told you to wait. That's all that's left for now. All right, you both of you guys hold hands. He holds yours and he grips it, and in a very calm, smooth, and straight away voice, he goes, "We'll get out of here. I know we will. It's hard, I know. Just bear it. We'll find a way. I promise." He grips your hand, and both look at each other, even with the helmets on. And for you, it feels in a long, long time. You cared greatly for your mother, and you don't even know if she may be alive. It's hard to understand a little bit of that concept as well. But you come to care for him as he does for you, as you did for everyone who were all together. But things had changed, and you remember that those who took their shots, one by one, each one that took these medicines and experiments would be disfigured or accosted or mutated or driven insane or die. One by one. And you don't know how many are left. And then they started dividing once you got older, and everyone else as well being left to their own solitaire, isolated. And things have become awkward and hard, but also you have felt the urge and need and the instinct to cherish it. These odd feelings that you can't really say, but if there's anyone who's an ally or a friend or someone really close to you or your heart, it would be GS. The doors open. GS quickly lets go of your hand, puts that aside. He whispers, "Stay calm. Don't try to do anything." A couple of figures who are tied up, they're restrained. The guards are taking hold of them, along with the scientists who just come out to the fray. And then on one side, one window lights up. And you see the old man looking right into this dead center. All right. Well, let's see what they can do. Guards let them go. They cut the ties. And you can hear the voices. LCGS. These two here are very bad people. I want you to beat them. Kill them if necessary. The two figures who are very hauntingly, one's a man, the other one's a woman. Much older than you for what you depict. They are wounded, they are bruised, and bleeding from the mouth and the nose. They're in a panic and they're looking right at you. What do you do? GS hasn't moved yet. He watches. He looks to the side. Sup, Meko? Her fur. As you say that, The two figures themselves, who are bleeding and wounded, look at each other. Ollie and look at you. You hear the cracking of a knuckle to your side. You see GS balling his fist. The guards, they laugh. The scientists don't seem amused. First himself go, look, you two. If you can kill these kids, I'll let you go. Two figures in front of you start bum rushing at you. The woman in front of you socks you right in the jaw. Starts just trying to knock you down and sell you. And you put your hands up instinctively. And you thought you would fall, but you're holding her at bay with just barely any strength. GS at the time tries not to move, tells the guy to stop. He puts a hand out. The guy doesn't listen. Him and GS start struggling. GS is in a struggle with the man. But the lady in front of you is trying to beat you, but you're just holding her at bay by just putting your hands up and covering yourself. It's hard to tell because the woman in front of you has got you like in a grapple. So she just keeps wailing on you and screaming. You can barely outmake GS and the other man. But yeah, it's really hard with all the screaming and beating and wailing. You definitely hear the struggles of the other two, not too far from you. As you go to assume the fetal position, you just hear the loud "No!" Crack, boosh. It's a sound and sickening of bone, and then you hear the splatter and the dropping of a body. The woman stops beating on you and turns around, and you see this poor soul just totally disfigured and just immediately parts of her body just like shattered. She stops beating on you and goes towards GS. GS, after seeing you fall, reacted that way and goes, I didn't mean to. And then she just straight up just tries to wail him, tries to take him down. And on accident, in a quick reaction, he puts his hand out and she runs right into his palm. And running into his palm out of nowhere, a large sheet of metal ejects, impaling her right in the face. You hear him with a along with the lady not having a chance to scream, just instantly fatally wounded, dead. The metal recedes back in into his body, and he just starts shaking. He slowly makes his way over to you while you're in the fetal position. with one shaking hand, he puts it on your hand. He goes, "Are you okay? Stay alive. It's okay. It's over. Don't worry." As he's covered in blood, and as he's touching you, you slowly get covered in as well, and smell definitely hits your senses. But you have a sense of fear, especially what he did. You don't understand what happened. Then you hear the voice over the intercom. Looks like we got one good one and one failure. Professor, Doctor, I don't know, what the hell are you? What do you think? Be calm, General. Take it to us, so. This one. He'll do good. As they try to separate you two, GS starts fighting back. He's just trying to get to you while fighting them off. Immediately, though, you see this large spark of energy at the back of his neck, knocking him out. The other guy, on the other hand, he just reaches right behind your neck, and you feel this slight pressure. Stay down. You almost feel like you can't breathe. Do you resist? Do you listen? Laying there, not knowing what to do, the guard snickers and smiles and picks you up along with the others. GS being transported as you both take separate ways. At the last moment, as the door closes, he looks. You see him slowly move, and he slowly reaches out towards you, and you remember the echoing voice of what he promised. That he will always try to protect you. Been several years ever since that day. The experiments continued. You've been beaten and trained to use firearms, even induce you and force you to beat others, even kill them. Information of documentaries, video feeds, media have been forced upon you. About time before the one day you would be rescued. Until you come upon someone who was differently clothed, but also wore said helmet. You are both put into a room. Thank you for those, Armin. I appreciate it. You are both to test out your capabilities and to fight. You've been honed, you've been trained, and brainwashed to a great extent. There are many things that touch you that are like inhibitors. Yet you still retain what sense you have, sanity or humanity, whichever you want to degree. Yeah, the voice of the professor again. Well, next test. Let's see if you can handle this one. Both of you. Well, Let's get to it, shall we? Do you wish to fight? Or do you wish to converse with this other figure before you? Armored just like you? Different uniform. Oh, yep. As you say the word hello, begin. The figure across from you immediately runs over, wha-bam! Smacks you right in the face. Grabs on your shoulders, pulls you in, knees you right in the guts. Looks like there's no room for small talk. You want to fight? Or take your beatings? Alright. You continue to fight. Defensively. Trying to push her back. Doing the best you can to defend yourself. In the midst of the battle, you hear the voice. Accelerate the room. And then the whole room starts to vibrate with a great change as you're blocking, fighting back, trying to counter, trying to render these blows harmless. The room, the armor, your skin, your blood and flesh accelerate to a great expanse that you cannot even control. The one blow that you try to block, they get in the way. And your hand goes right through the chest. At that moment, as the lifeline starts to fade, the helmet starts to slide off from the brawl and the acceleration. You see one of your old friends when you got here before you guys were being separated. Her name was TL. As you hear the voice over the comms, excellent. She's moving quite nicely, Professor. Yes, she is. Weeding them out has been entertaining and very educational. And it starts to make sense to you to how and where the others that who were here with you were going, how they were weeded out, how they went missing. As you put your hand back, staring at it, full with gore and blood and bone. Well, see? You may leave now. The tests are done. Quickly go and get cleaned. Do you stand there? Stay? Or do you listen and obey? As you stand there and stare at your hands, you hear one facility go, Doctor? Her senses, they're changing on different astronomical levels. What? Shut her down. And you feel this pulse in your body. You try to stay awake. But a door opens and a figure is running at you. They hold you and they're trying to tell you it's okay. And you hear more guards and you hear the voice over the intercom. How did he get in here? And you manage to see the last bit of face of GS. I'm telling you, it's okay, it's okay. It's not your fault. It's not your fault. Then you black out. You wake. You're healed, but you remember the encounter. And you reflect upon it. Melancholy. Its own horror and travesty. Barely seeing GS after so long. 3 weeks passed as they inject you with more different kinds of serums, different kinds of medicines. Hey, Mihai. A lot of your emotions and nervous systems have changed. And they've been quietly numbed. And you're used to being and having a servitude, like a mood, and your behavior and demeanor as well. You're taking a facility where there's several different creatures, different animals. Well, let's check her nervous capabilities and emotions. See how numb they are. I'll see. Grab that. You see, there's definitely many different creatures. Some are jumping, floating, squealing, screaming, knowing what may happen. Some are just afraid, reeling back. Do you grab one? Or do you not? It doesn't matter what they are. If you wish, that's a Zuka. Grab one. It's a very puffy, of a fur ball. Seems feline. Has his own little small little wings and has this little tethered orb that's attached to it that expresses his emotion. You grab one and you're not used to your grip, and it looks afraid at you with bulging eyes, and it's squealing and crying and trying to get up, but I can't escape your grasp. Good. Squeeze it. Kill it. You're good, Mihai. Do you resist or do you obey? The creature seems so relaxed that you haven't done anything to it. Yeah, you feel a very lightheartedness. If it's warm, it's fuzzy, it's very cute. It reminds you of your teddy bears. Not done, I see. Do it. And then the suit of your armor on your arm immediately starts clutching, and it squeals and it screams as the eyes start bulging out as it tries to throw a tantrum. And then as you hear the crack of bone and the tearing and parts of its feathers and its furs start to fall, squeezing the life out of it as it flails and twitches. The creature itself looks like this. It was afraid of you when you first grabbed it, and it calmed down when you didn't do anything to it, as it tried to nudge and rub against your hand. And then you killed it. What parts of its life? Your hand gone, destroyed. Not too long later, you're taken to your quarters. There's the debates of Elsie not operating as well as the others. Later, the professor apparently took a leave to tend to some things, and will be back to make a final judgment. The facilities near you, they look at you. What purpose was to make you into a real soldier, into a monster. You're immediately escorted to your room. Any questions or things that you wanted to ask? They don't really respond. But do you wish to go to your room? Or do you wish to stay? Or do you want to continue to try asking something? As you stay, one of the scientists near you, they get this weird prod, and then they jam it right in the back of your neck. And then you feel it turn like a wind-up toy that you used to remember playing as a child. Shock reverberates your body and your mind. You feel echoes, and you feel that you must obey. Now, what transpired had served a purpose, but you managed to hear before your mind went blank. She's a defect. We should just throw her out like the rest. You awake later in your room, sitting there, a hand dried bits of blood. Then you hear a sound. Explosion. Alarms are blared. You don't know what's going on. Out of nowhere, your door opens. What do? You hear yelling, you hear gunfire, everyone's scrambling. What do? Stay? You leave. But whose door? The door leading to your room opens. It slides open. So you just see the hallway and stuff now. You poke your head outside. You see several of the guards are just going in just one direction. And some of them are going back the other way, not paying you any heed or no mind. Some of the scientists are scrambling and yelling about. Some of the other doors open too, and then you see other figures poking their head out. Some walking. Some of the scientists go like, go back in the quarters, go back in the quarters. And some of the guards, they don't pay no mind. They've been here for so long that they usually order you guys to do whatever it is you need to do. You hear one guard just yelling, "Get into your cells!" The scientists are trying to collaborate and push everyone, even you, back to your quarters, telling you everything is fine. But everyone around you got out of the cells, seemed to be unaffected, confused, motionless. One of the blast doors that one guard was about to open explodes. And you see a figure that you're not too familiar with. A very short, stout female who wields one pistol in her hand, and her gauntlets vibrate with a very harmonious yet riveting energy. The gauntlets she has are definitely special. She yells out behind her through the smoke, "Members of the White Oak, we've come to help you. Let us leave this place, children." And so the scientist who looks at you once you say about becoming a monster, you reach for his throat. And this is the one I told you to kill the small creature. And you snap his neck easily. No problem. The other members who were in barracks like you start realizing that they can get out, they can be free. And they too start going on a murder spree against the guards and scientists, some getting shot in the process, and some just turning on anyone, relishing in their berserker rage. The small, lithe female runs towards you, along with many others who join in the fight or help them detain who needs to be detained. She sees as you kill the scientist, throwing it over to the pile. with the many other scientists. What? You got a good arm. My name's Victoria. Victoria Bromley. Oh, well, some call me Faye. At the White Oak. I'm captain. We managed to take wind of this facility and what it does. And also a old friend of yours by the name of GS told me you were here. We come to set you free. Will you join me? GS touches go. She nods her head with a smile, and at one guard who was trying to run away, she takes her pistol out and just pew pops him. Hey Stan, how's it going? Stream's been awesome, dude. How are you? Just doing an introduction for one of my community members, one of the family of the Crusade, for her sci-fi character, D&D RPG stuff. That's it. But yet, Victoria nods her head and gestures to follow her. As you ask to where he is, a lot of people are getting rounded up, and she turns towards this smoky fire and runs into it. As you run after, alongside with Victoria Faye, instinctually, in which you were built for, trained to be, and in the developing rage that you never knew you had, but it started developing in the killer instinct of helping her slay many scientists and guards that tortured you, that killed your friends, your family, even if you barely knew them. They meant a lot to you. Managed to make your way to this large gaping hole that was created. Go to a blast door, and you see the deck of this large vessel, this ship. You've seen a couple of them before, but this one was larger than any cartoon book that you've ever read or movie. Victoria gestures you along with many others to get on the ship. Some have already jumped on. Some are confused, but later are just pushed onto it. Not too far, you can see GS. Victoria once again goes like, "He's on the ship. This is our chance." As she makes her way. and you go to GS. Over here you see even larger vessels and different ships that are fighting, that are liberating this facility per se. It looks like the small ship itself wouldn't have been enough to take this facility. There's also another figure that's waiting there as well. As you go there, you mention me GS, and he goes, "Thank God, thankfully you're safe. Thankfully, got out. I did my best to make sure that they didn't try to study you through all these years that they did it to us." One figure makes his way towards you guys. The armored suit, the glowing energies across his body, but he has these tube-like wires across them as well. And he has this large backpack, and you hear the rushing of what seems to be like water. He's fully armored himself. He wears something like that of a, almost like a power hat from what you remember from your cartoon books. As the figure gets closer and you're reunited with GS, and Victoria, she looks over to the figure. "Now that I helped you liberate this facility, I believe we've come to a accord, and I'll take my charge as part of the deal. His family has missed him greatly. I must track him down here. So, I'll take what I need. Is that fair enough, Captain Victoria?" Victoria looks over to him and goes, and very meekly, like very afraid, but also thankful. Thank you for your aid, Admiral Seablade. Don't think too much about it." And then as you see some guards come about, he takes his long metal object out, and then this harpoon itself has several different wires, but then the pulsating tank fills up these empty wires that was in the harpoon, and he chucks it at these guys that are about to open fire on you guys, and they explode in this large, melting acidic like water. "Well done. When you're ready, lad." He just swears to GS as another small little like Bowie space vessel comes around the side of the White Oak. Which is a very beautiful ship, by the way. The White Oak itself has different banners, plates of the White Oak tree, and also what they stand for: freedom, fighting against tyranny. And the large vessel in the sky, you see the sea blade mark of Whirlpool with several blades, pikes and tridents. It's very expansive, very huge. You wish to say anything to GS? We play a battle and a cigarette. Fail. I think you've achieved tranquility and balance. You glow. Another Buddha. Jesus looks at you after taking off his helmet. You guys face each other. Remember how we want to talk about our families? I have to go to mine. And he was hired to find me. And these lot were on the way, so they decided to work with each other. And your mom, I think she's still alive. I may be able to try to find her. I don't know. But I have to go with him. Stay with the White Oak. Learn about life with him for a while. And then maybe you can make your own journey too. So do I. Maybe we'll meet up again. And you can see the large gash, the wounds across his chest. The pulsating has stopped, but has left a detrimental wound. It's still there. It seems like it's still moving, but it has been stifled. And he himself looks at you very sadly. And as the rain, thunder fall, you hear the crash of it. And as another crash happens once more. As you pull him to a hug. Instinctually, this is one of the first times you it's something of your own accord. Instead of having someone force you, to tell you, to control you. It's hard. Your emotions are exploding forth. You've held them all in for so long. It's something that could have began but did a long time ago. It has to end. He hugs you as he pulls you in to kiss you. As you guys pull back, you may not know what that means now. Maybe one day you will. I love you, Lily. Stay safe. And before he turns around, he gives a little box of Elysium grapes and he puts a flower. That's your name, this flower right here. And he gives it to you. Let's go, lad. And he tries to hold on to you. I said, let's go! And he grabs GS and pulls him away. As you're about to move, Victoria holds you by the side to let you move. I'll find you. I'll find you. And tears start dropping from his eyes. I'll find you. As the rain increases, the cracking of storms. As he's taken upon the ship of Seablade. As he's being taken away. As he keeps yelling that he'll find you. He'll set things right. He'll find your mom. And Victoria takes you off to the side, away from the rain. We'll put the lily flower and the Elysium grapes to remember by. And you never forgot the sound of that thunder's rainy night. There you go. Well, hopefully everyone enjoyed that. What else? I think Corny probably like, after the whole thing. Oh, the hell? You phone? There we go. And yeah, that concludes Lily Chrysanthemum's intro for Shamu, Act Shamu 28. Part of our Crusade community. Oh yeah! And also a fellow Warfund and Pateron. Thank you for the support. I appreciate everybody, but of course, you know, today was for Volvo and Shamu, so Volvo, thank you. You've been awesome and great. You've been growing to a great, fine person. Appreciate it. Shamu. Many people start out weak first. Each day that you wake up and continue your life, you get a little bit stronger, a little bit better, and you learn to break away. And this, and also for Volvo, well, you come a long way and grow much stronger and definitely more confidence. Shamu, with Asian blood and heritage of sorts, it's hard to overcome certain callousness of emotions and accepting it and expressing and breaking those chains of things that have been solidified. So, and the Crusade and what the stream is about, and with D&D or RPGs in its therapeutic senses, it's a form of therapy. It's a form of sparking imagination. It's a form of letting people be themselves, not working just in imagination, but also exploring themselves and the bottom of who they are. Because D&D and characters, when you make them, they're a part of you. They're a reflection of certain aspects or embodiments, traits. So never forget that. And that's why Crusade on. Even to the great end. But here's one thing that I also live by: our community, this stream, and how it grows, and the Discord group as well. It's its own entity. And like how I lead my life like war, the entity itself is like a kingdom. Its lands, its borders, look upon closely within its walls to maintain a peace, spot any hereticalness. And I also look towards the outside too, what has not been conquered, what looks upon, you know, our lands, the kingdom, our community, what may pose a threat. But the lands as well can be very bright, vibrant, vast, beautiful, lovely. Yet there are darkness and demons that lurk by too. I have many promises and oaths to keep and things to honor, as I do today, just as I do with the Pateron for you guys, and with the stream. I have many miles to go before I go to sleep. And I have many miles to go before I can truly go to sleep for good. And I'll do what I can. And I promise that I've been trying to abide by it for a long time, and I have. That's my honor take on that. Here you go, guys. There's your introductions. It took a while, but it's like cooking. I have to take my time. I have to write it out. I have to think. It's like cooking, putting things together, or putting certain ingredients, preparations, or handling like a tree or a plant, watching it grow, changing it, watching it mutate a bit. Something when I roll a dice, changing things. It's odd. I like everything to be very immersive and perfect in the greatest way, because if I am too content with how I do things, then I cannot aspire to become even greater, DMing better, telling story better, doing better immersions, exceeding the great heights. Because I also want to show this to all of you guys, be it either in life or what you pursue, or career, or a passion. You can go even to greater levels. Never truly be content to where you're at. Always aspire and be hungry with your heart to go even higher and improve. I don't want to just be a good DM or a great DM. I want to be that DM, that storyteller, the game maker, the crusader that can not just tell and weave stories, make you feel it, make it breathe, make it be heard, make it live. Not just as it is fiction, but to everyone in their minds and their hearts, and their souls, and their life, hopefully. It's a long path. But I would rather be that crusader, the storyteller, the DM, the game maker, that can inspire great tales of grandeur and courage, faith and hope. And then also to strike with fear, consequences, severity, even cruelty. At the same time, putting his own path of piousness and humbleness. D&D can teach lessons too, just like how it can in life and in scriptures. It took a while for me to have that persona of what the stream is about. It's not just, D&D and games. Talk things out, live their imaginations, using that knowledge from games or D&D and mixing it together. I guess that's a great tell of what I kind of DM wish to be. Something that can just shatter the skies and shake hearts. Full soul stream.